Story 1. Am I the a-hole for getting mad my artist hid their initials in my tattoo? This is a short one, names changed for privacy. I went to a tattoo shop in my area with a photo of the tattoo I wanted. It was one my dad had gotten to honor my past grandfather, whose father also had it. But the point is, it was important to me that the tattoo looked exactly as it did in the photo. I get to the shop, I explain everything, I pay, get the tattoo, and we're done. I think it looks awesome, everything's great, until a few weeks later when I showed my great-grandmother the tattoo. She's static, grabs my arm to look at and compliment it, then asks, "Who's AJ?" I ask her what she means, and she points out on the tattoo where the initials A and J, or maybe T, were hidden. I'm instantly peed, as my artist's name is Alice Trevor. She tries to assure me it's no big deal if I hadn't noticed it till now, but I still reached out to the artist sort of irritated. They told me the style of art I got is called traditional, and it's pretty trad for all artists who do that style to do it. I demanded a partial refund and they refused, so I complained to the owner, who made the artist give me a full refund. Now the artist is running a full smear campaign talking about moving shops and all kinds of crap. My sister says I'm an a-hole for pushing the issue, but I feel like at the end of the day, I told you exactly what I wanted, and you didn't do that. Am I the a-hole? I'm not an expert on this matter, but I do know that, a lot of, artists, any kind of artist, not just tattoo, but, painters, stuff like that, will, sign the paintings that they're doing, and some of them who don't want a really noticeable signature will just try and hide their signature within the artwork. And I think that's okay on art that you're making and then maybe just trying to sell or something. People are like, oh, their initials are on it. That's neat. But when you're commissioned to do art for someone, you need to let them know everything that you're going to do. You don't get to hide stuff within the art for them to be like, hey, I paid you for a specific thing, but you've tacked something else onto this. That's not what I commissioned you for. And there's some argument to be made for, well, that's how an artist, denotes their work or whatever. And when you're paying for an artist, you're paying for, some of their creative input and details. I think there's some arguments to be made there, but in the end, it's like, no, this is a tattoo. This is going on someone's body. And so you need to be very clear about what you're putting on their body, because it's pretty much stuck there. Yeah, you can get expensive tattoo removal or cover-ups, but no, you gotta let them know. So artists, if you want to hide your signatures on some tattoos, let them know beforehand, please. Story 2. My dad smacked me several times and I blew the F up. Hey folks, if it isn't obvious from the title of this story, it is going to contain some discussion of abuse from parents. And so if you don't want to hear stuff like that, just go to the time code that my editors put on screen here to go to the next story. I've been browsing this sub for the past couple weeks and recently experienced something I feel belongs here. For some context, I have been homeschooled since kindergarten and have been teaching myself for the past year. Edie, entitled Dad, EM, entitled Mom, me, my best friends, dog, Obi, older brother, here it goes. I was downstairs in my room watching Hunter x Hunter. Around 2 a.m., my brother knocks on my door and informs me that my dad wants me to come upstairs for a Bible study. I refuse to do so because of thousands of hours of wasted time doing Bible studies, homeschool conventions, political conventions, and whatever other random BS they decided was required for schooling. After about 10 minutes of my brother sending back and forth messages like a mailman, and Dad started shouting from upstairs. Dad, if you don't get up here, I'm charging rent. Me, sure, that's fine. Dad, give me $50 right now. Me, I don't have cash at the moment. After that, it was silent for a bit. He then comes downstairs, unlocks my door, I have a stupid penny lock, and enters my room with a Bible in hand. My sister, brother, and mother follow shortly. He sits down in my computer chair. Dad, fine, we'll have a Bible study in here. I'm gonna leave then. I'll stop you. He then rolls the chair between my bed and the desk to block my walkway to the door. I jump over my bed railing and exit my room. I go upstairs and stand in my dining room for about 4 minutes until my dad comes upstairs shouting, "Why are you being such an a-hole?" Oh, I'm the a-hole? He smacks me pretty effing hard after I said that, and that's when the adrenaline kicked in. What the F? He smacks me a second time. "You piece of actual crap." Smacks me a third time. I move forward and get in his face. "Effing smack me again and I'll have more proof." He smacks me 2 more times, and that is when I really lose my crap. "What the F is wrong with you, you effing sad sack of crap? Show me some respect." "Shut the F up, you mother effer." After this, I shouted every insult I had in my vocabulary except seasucker. I still regret not saying that. He raises his hand to smack me again, but I hit his hand away and get ready to punch him in the face. He backed off about a foot and raised his fist to block it. Something about it was just so funny to me at that moment. This a-hole that I've been afraid of since I was old enough to think looked like he was scared crapless. I lower my hands and start walking toward my room to grab my phone. "Where are you going?" I enter my room while ignoring him, and he follows. My mom was still in there. She was silent for once, thankfully. I grabbed my phone, and my dad was blocking my way out once again. "What are you doing?" "I am calling the police, you sack of crap." "I'll kill you before they get here." "Effing do it. I don't give a crap." "What the hell is wrong with you?" This isn't the first time he's threatened to kill me, but he always plays it off as a joke. I push him aside and go upstairs to leave. As I open the door, he comes halfway up the stairs. "What do you think you're doing?" "I'm leaving, you delusional F." I go outside and stand on the curb and call my older brother. "Older brother, hello. Hey, can you please come pick me up?" "Yeah, sure." I hang up and start walking up the street barefoot just to get away from that house. I reach an intersection and wait. Then I see headlights coming up the street. It's my effing dad. I bolted left down a street and hid behind some bushes before he turned to follow me. I sat there for a minute and waited for him to pass me. He passed by yelling my name every 5 seconds, then thought to myself, wait, why the F am I hiding from this D-head? So start walking back to the spot where I was originally waiting. On my way, my mom calls me. I answer. "What the F do you want?" "Just calm down. F that." I hung up. I see my dad do a U-turn, then drive to me and stop. "Get in the car!" "Shut the F up." Then he just drives off down a random street. I saw that as a chance to go back and grab my wallet, shoes, and headphones. When I got back to my house, I went straight to my room to grab my stuff. My mom was sitting on my bed. Once I grabbed my crap, I turned to leave. "You shouldn't have disrespected him like that." "Shut up, see?" I leave, and my brother is outside in his car. As soon as I got in, I started sobbing and having the biggest panic attack of my life. My hands and legs went numb, then started hyperventilating. He tried to comfort me, but didn't really know what was going on. We went back to his house where he and my 2 other brothers live. That was about a week ago, and I've been here since. I don't ever intend on going back. Edit. To add, so people don't think I was a piece of crap, before this, I was by all means considered a good kid, mostly because I was bullied into submission anytime I questioned them. Also, entitled mom and entitled dad are anti-vax and anti-doctor, and haven't seen a doctor, as far as I can remember, since I was born. Yeah, there's a pretty hard line in the sand where there's, like, tough parenting and parents getting to decide, like, what you're going to do, like, nope, you're coming to this event because I'm the parent and I say so, where that just crosses straight over into abuse territory. And clearly the person writing this is, at the very least, a teenager and should have some autonomy to make their own decisions. And being forced into that, hit, and threatened, none of that's okay. That is all absolutely abuse. And that kind of stuff, A, I'm glad this person got away from it however they could. B, I would hope that they could call, if they are still a minor, Child Protective Services and have something done, put together evidence. Folks, if you're in situations like that, hang on to evidence however you can, because that kind of stuff can add up. And I know it doesn't always work out great, but sometimes it does, and you can get out of these really, really toxic bad situations. And as much as that dad might try to play off the killing you and stuff, making threats like that to kids, especially after you've hit them, scares the crap out of me. So please stay safe out there. Story 3. Entitled Mom Wants to Skip the Line, Gets a Lot More Than She Wanted. So I was standing in line at the checkout at my local supermarket. I think in total I had about 10 items, some frozen goods, drinks, and snacks. I usually tend to take out one of the buds of my phone, so in case someone addresses me, I would hear it. At this time, the woman at the cash register was taking care of the payment of one client, and there was one person in front of me, and then suddenly she appeared. The entitled mom in this story. Now, honestly, she didn't look at it. She didn't even give off a mean vibe or anything. Even the way she started talking to me was overall nice and polite. At first. "Excuse me, do you mind if I skip ahead? I'm in a hurry." Now, in general, if somebody politely asks me this and I don't have any urgent business of my own, I usually don't mind. This time, however, I didn't have that many groceries, so her delay would be at most a few minutes, while she was pushing a fully loaded shopping cart in front of her, so if I would have let her skip, I'd probably be sitting in the store for another 10 to 20 minutes. So I politely decline and tell her I will hurry as much as I can. Of course, this was a great offense. I had not given this woman her entitlement. She blew up instantly, yelling and screaming at me that she was in a hurry and, not kidding here, had to be home in time for her shows. Now, at this time, I would like to point out that during this rant, she only said she had to be home in time for shows and that they were very important to her. There was nothing else making this urgent for her. This is important a bit later. Now, while this woman was going off, the person at the cash register went into ignore mode and just started scanning my groceries, which I loaded into a bag while the entitled mother was going on about how I was garbage and they should ban me from the store. Now, this should have been the end of it. Just turn around and go home and forget this happened. But then she said something that, 1, made me almost want to kill her, 2, made this a postable story. While I was walking away, just about to put the earbud back in, she yells, "If you pass by my car, tell my son he's the reason he had to wait another half an hour for me." Now, I'm not an extremely smart person, but in this moment my brain made some connections quickly. What I realized was this. 1, again, it was very hot outside. 2, this woman had been in the store for a while, judging by the amount of groceries. 3, the entire parking lot of this store had almost no shade. 4, it was about 2 p.m., so the sun was just over its peak. I rush outside and start running past cars, scanning them for kids inside. Thankfully, one of the first cars I passed had a small child laying in the back seat. This kid is as pale as a ghost, sweating like crazy, and it looked like he was only half conscious. I run back inside, and to my utter astonishment, this bee is having a conversation with the cashier while she's checking out her groceries. I grab her by the shoulder, spin her around, and yell almost straight to her face that her kid is literally dying in your car, and if you don't do something right now, I'm smashing in your windows and calling the cops. At first, she looked at me in complete confusion, probably never spoken to like that before in her life. Then the realization of what I told her sunk in, and she rushed outside. While she went outside, a man tapped me on the shoulder and asked what had happened. I explained the situation by actually leaving out the bit at the cash register, just saying I saw the kid in the car and knew that this woman was probably the owner. He went outside, and when I came outside, the entitled mother suddenly rushed me and got in my face, saying I was the reason she was in the store for so long, and her son's current condition was my fault. Before I can even respond, the man that approached me earlier speaks up. Turns out this man was an off-duty cop and had been in the store for a while and as such knew that the actual delay caused by me could not have caused this. He also said that he had already called an ambulance for the kid and the cops for her. I don't know what happened to the entitled mother, but she completely crashed. She just sat down on the pavement and started shaking her head, not saying much except the occasional sob or "not my fault." As for the ending, everything turned out okay for most parties. I stayed a while to give a statement to the cops and my contact info in case it went to court. The kid was okay afterwards, and since his mom got arrested, they called his dad or another male family member, I didn't ask, to accompany him to hospital. As for the entitled mother, I'm assuming she's going to have to stand trial for child endangerment. Not sure if she'll just get a fine or jail time. Update. I was contacted by the police a few days ago, last Friday. I went to the station where they went over my statement, asked if I wanted to add or amend anything I said. I didn't. They couldn't really tell me directly what was going to happen with the mother or the family in general, but said that the standard punishment, when the child is not seriously hurt or dead, is usually a GAS fine. GAS stands for German Administering Sanctie in Dutch. I don't speak Dutch. And Municipal Administrative Sanctions in English. I think it's kind of sad that something bad has to happen before serious punishment is handed out. I do not know what the amount of the fine will be, but as for me, it couldn't be high enough. I've not seen any of those people in the store or in the area in general, but I also don't know if they live near here or were just passing by the store by coincidence, or maybe they're just avoiding the store. That's also possible. That will probably be the end of this tale. I know many of you hoped for something worse for the mother, but sadly, life is not fair. But at least the child lived, and let's hope the mother learned a lesson. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Parents, people know not to leave, dogs and stuff in cars with the heat. Why would you leave a young child out there in the heat? Cars in the middle of summer on a decently hot day can get unbelievably hot, dangerously hot. And if she's got a cart full of food, that can take a while. She could have been shopping for an hour. Something seriously bad could have happened. And yeah, she deserves some punishment. I don't know what that punishment should be. That's not for me to decide, but I'm glad that this person spoke up and did something and didn't just, hear her say that and decide I'm not dealing with this and walk away. What you did looking for that child and going in to, say something to her, that may have I guess the child probably would have been okay. She would have gotten out within a few minutes, but even still, we don't know, and what you did was great. So, folks, don't let this kind of stuff happen. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what more to say. Story 4. Mechanic tries to scam me, receives public embarrassment in return. I, 26 female, do not look like I would know a single thing about cars. 5'3" with long blonde hair, soft girly appearance, and an external baby face that makes me look about 15 to 16 years old. I drive a rather beat-up looking 2004 Avalon. My dad and brother are both mechanics. Not my profession, but I've learned a thing or 7 from them and am very comfortable working on cars. I'm only mentioning my appearance because it's pretty common for mechanics to assume that I'm an idiot about cars. A while back, I was pretty overwhelmed with life and didn't have a good space to do it, so I took my car in to get the oil changed. The place offered a free-of-charge, head-to-toe inspection for any repairs that might need to be made. I knew my car was fine. I had pretty recently changed the air filter and brake pads. Rotors had maybe 40,000 miles on them and were in great condition. New serpentine belt too, literally, just didn't feel like changing my oil. Relevant notes. Before I went to the shop, I actually checked my air filter and it was, in fact, pristine. Also, I usually call my dad while I'm working on my car so we can chat so he knows what repairs/maintenance I've done and that my car is well taken care of. After they changed my oil, the guy came back with the inspection results on a clipboard and was holding my air filter. He had this grave look on his face like something was wrong. Mind you, this is a very busy place and there were lots of customers in the waiting room. He told me that we needed to go over the results because my car was about to be completely broken down and also not safe to drive if I didn't get several repairs done as soon as possible because these were all completely shot. The repairs: new brake pads, new rotor, new calipers, replace serpentine and drive belt, new air filter, new compressor or my AC will not work, a heavy threat in the middle of summer in Florida, and a couple more generic things. He showed me my air filter that was filled with dead grass, a dead wasp, some dirt, and hair. Bruh, he really scooped some BS off the shop floor and put it in my new air filter to try and freak me out. The total? About $1,500 worth of work. It would be more expensive anywhere else, but he was willing to give me a deal. So I immediately started buying myself time by asking some basic questions that I knew he would have to explain, so I could nod at him all wide-eyed while I came up with a good way to respond to what he was doing. So what does the serpentine belt do? Is it important, etc.? I texted my dad. I'm calling in a sec just to play along. Or I'm calling in a sec, just play along. Told the guy, oh my god, that's so scary. I can't believe I was driving around like that. Thank you so much for caring. I don't have the money, so let me call my dad real quick to see if he can help me out. I can't afford this. I then proceeded to enhance my dramatic performance by even working up a tear while I called my dad. The guy is standing there with me in front of all the customers. I put my phone on speaker and gave my dad a whole sob story about how I needed money again. I'm so sorry, can you help me? He asked what repairs were and how much. I said, I don't know, but it sounds really bad. He said, that's dangerous, Dad. I can't be without a car. What am I going to do? Then I asked the guy to tell my dad what the repairs were. He rattles it all off, and my dad is playing his part perfectly. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you caught this so she's not in danger anymore. Little did the scammer know, he was the one in danger. He hands the phone back and I drop the facade and start laughing really hard. As soon as Dad heard me, he started screaming and cackling into the phone. I said, Dad, do you hear this BS? Get this. He brought me my new air filter I just put in to show me how dirty it was. He pulled crap off the floor or something and rubbed it in there. Dad and I continue to crack up. The audience in the waiting room was also cracking up. Scammy McCanny was beet red and completely at a loss for words. Head down and some stuttering was his response. I handed him my air filter and told him to vacuum it out and make sure to let me see it before he put it back in. I sat and watched him put it back once it was clean and also watched him pull my car out to make sure he didn't do anything horrible while I wasn't looking. I might have taken it a little far, but I really hate when mechanics take advantage of people who don't know anything about cars, so this felt like a massive win. Big props to my dad for his performance and for teaching me about cars. Okay, folks, so I'm kind of a car idiot. I would say out of, most of the people in my immediate family, I am probably near the point of knowing the least. But I still know a few things because you know what? It's important to know some of these basics to avoid scammers like this. Seriously, learn about air filters and a couple other little things, and it's going to save you oftentimes money because you'll be able to change that stuff yourself. And it's just going to save you the time of dealing with shysters. And so, yeah, I hate mechanics like this. If there's anything that is important in this world, it's finding good mechanics, good hairstylists, and, I don't know, something else, a good brand of toilet paper. All of those things are very important to have in your life. So when you find one that works for you, never let it go. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.